G'day everyone, here we are out in the back and we're continuing with our irrigation saga. I'll show you exactly what I mean in a minute, but along this wall and around the lawn here, about, must be at least 10 years ago, I had someone come in, put the lawn in, put this retaining wall in, and I've done a couple of videos on what that job was like. But I've got no water pressure anymore. So I'm running from the bore, every other area works fine, but here I can't get the pressure up. I thought it was because I put a stake through the piping where I put the arch up, which is true, I did. But after I fixed it, and I'll show you what it looks like now I fixed it, it's still not working. So let's try an experiment. And while we're experimenting, I'll show you how to put this poly pipe in, just in case you don't know. It's pretty simple. Alright, let's get into it. So this is where I put a hole in the poly pipe and I patched it up. I just, cut the bit out that had a hole in it, joined it back together with some joiners, and it didn't solve the issue. So let's turn the water on and I'll show you what I mean. These sprinkler attachments have a radius of about 12 metres or so. I'll show you what they are, put a little link and an image and some specs up in the chat for you. And that's enough to go from this side to my grapevine. But I need two of them. And this is the first thing you've got to work out. How are you going to lay your sprinklers out so you get full coverage? With this one, if I aim it straight down the patio line and have it going out 90 degrees up to there, that will cover most of the yard. Hello, Booth. This one further up, we will have running directly up the backyard. So it covers that area. You're in the way. And we'll have it come back till it points at the corner. And that way we get a really good coverage over here. And that one will cover that area there. Because we really want to cover these garden beds here and the plants that I've got up against the back. So, I've got a butternut pumpkin there. Right, let's turn it on so you can see what the problem is. And that's about as good as it gets for this end one, which is just a little bit of a trickle. So I'm pretty sure something's either blocking it or the pipe is creased. Really don't understand why. So as you can see, really weird issue. And another reason why I lay the pipes on the top of the ground. So it's very easy to find out what's causing the problems. So let's turn that off and get to fixing it. I'm going to run this pipe down along the edge of these raised beds. It pays to sit the stuff out in the sun so it becomes a little bit softer. But we'll run it down here. I shall just pop that there. We'll get the length right. I should have mentioned this earlier, but the original pipes these other gardeners put in run down this wall, along the edge of the patio. There's a pipe that goes up to the middle for one that's no longer there, and I blocked it off. And then it runs up along the grapevine. There's a couple more sprinklers in there. So the leak, blockage, could be anywhere around there. So let's get this new one in. So let's do a little inventory of parts that we need. As I said, I need two of those knocker type sprinklers. That doesn't sound right. I'll look up what they actually are called. Impact, that's what they are, impact sprinklers. To cover the area that I need. So for that, we've got our 19mm poly pipe run along the fence line. We will need some short risers to hold the sprinkler on top. We will need T-pieces to go in there. These are the 19mm, and it's the one with a threaded bit, so we can just put our riser directly in. No need for thread tape or anything, they don't leak. So there we have it there. We'll put our sprinkler on top. Get another one of those. So we've got for our two impact sprinklers. Do them up nice and tight. We of course need one end plug, otherwise all the water will come out the end, won't it? And importantly, we need a reducer. Because my irrigation pipes are a bit of a variety actually. I've got some ag pipe for the main delivery, which is I think 1.5 or 2 inch, 1 3/4 inch. Yeah, it is actually imperial. That feeds off into these 25mm poly pipes, And when we get to the garden, we do a 19mm, and eventually we get down to the little 13mm when we're just spraying into pots and things like that. And that way we try and keep the water pressure up everywhere we go. So we need to reduce our pipe size down to the 19mm to fit that poly pipe. Now, if we just put the pipe onto these barbs, meet Barbara, you can see the barb there, right? So poly pipe size over there, and that's meant to hold it in place. If we didn't put anything else on there, they would just pop off within days. So we can get these sort of clips. Now, they open up like that, and you push them closed, and they lock in place. Utterly useless, particularly if they're above ground. The sun gets to them, they become brittle, they snap off, and then your pipe bursts. So what I do is I buy these, and these are really handy with the little tab to tighten and loosen them, much nicer than the other sorts, which I'll show you in a sec. But I couldn't get all of them, so I do have somewhere ones without, there they are, that nice little handle. So these are the little hose clamps I'll be using, and they've got a Phillips screw. Where are we? Where's their camera? Come on. They've got a Phillips screw on there. We can tighten those up over the barb. Right, so pipe goes on, slip that on about there, tighten them up, and they will hold. It's also easy for fixing. Okay, so that's our inventory of parts that we need. Let's pop it all in our little box here. Take our cutters, and let's go and do the deed. Oh, one other thing we should do, I always get a jug of boiling water to soften the ends of the pipe. Makes it much easier to put the connectors on and get them well seated. So we'll go and get our boiling water. So the first one we're going to do is we'll put our end plug on. Stay. So first thing, put our hose clamp over. That's not an end plug. Okay, we'll put that on there. Wash him in, and this is why we usually soften it up. Much easier if we heat it up a bit. There we go. So it's seated all the way down. We get our hose clamp and we tighten them up just above the ridge. Right, so we can see the ridges there. Put the clamp slightly above it, and let's do him up. These are quite cheap. I got them from Temu. They'll do the job for indefinite amount of time. And that's the end plug. Now we go and do the other end. Okay, so I've made it long enough that it's just off the end here. And that means that I can put this sprinkler as close to the brick line as I can to spray down the edge of the patio. Right, so this is my main feed coming from the heavy ag pipes. I need another screwdriver. I'm going to just undo it here, use my reducer to bring it down to this 19mm, and the 19mm will run across there. So let's just go and get a flat screwdriver. I'm going to salvage all of these pieces, of course, except that one sort of, that had a blue handle on it, but it's broken, so we're going to have to use pliers to get that one. And that is a disadvantage of those blue handled hose clamps. When the plastic breaks, they become quite unmanageable. The blue plastic does become brittle in the sun, but we will save that as an emergency repair one. And we take our reduction one, we pop him in, and this is where we need the hot water. Alright, so what we're going to do is pop that in there just for a couple of minutes. That should do it. And if you watch, it just slides in much easier, and we can get it properly seated. Oh, watch out, it's hot. Right, slips him off a bit more. Put just above the barb. A little warning, that little tag there is sharp. If you slip, you'll get a really nice slice on your hand. You want to cut it fairly close to the length, maybe a little bit over. So I'll just cut that. Find our hot water again. Where'd I put it? Oh, there. Very importantly, don't forget to put that on before you connect it. Should do it. Which I almost did. Alright, and that slides on really easily. Get our Phillips screwdriver, which is around here somewhere. Ah, you've made a boo-boo. I've got to run that behind my archway. Okay, let's try that again. Put that on. Hot water. There we go. And tighten him up. That's what I mean. These ones are really easy. Now, if you're like me, you never throw anything out. So this has actually been used before, and it's got a crimp in it. And that is really going to affect the water flow quite badly. We could try and reshape it, but I'd much rather just waste $1, chop it off, get a couple of hose clamps, and use a joiner to fix it up. So let's do that. Get the hot water again. Okay, I've just put it behind the bird baths, and I thought I'd mention bird baths are a really important thing in our gardens. Because it gets so hot and it's so dry, having water out for the birds is really, really important. Also for the other insects, we put a little stick in there, so if the insects fall in, like the bees, they can climb out again. And I've got a few of these around. There's another one there, a couple out the front. Because our summers are rather unforgiving, as I've said many times. Okay, let's get some of the impact sprinklers in. So I'm actually going to put it in the same sort of place, because I could put it further back that way and just have it run 90 degrees. But I really want it to get to that corner and all the way up to my mango tree. So I'll put it back in the same place. It was serving a good purpose. So here we go. We're just going to cut it round about there. Using a shorter, put the clip on. Using a shorter riser. As I said, good thing it's 32, 34 degrees out here. Makes the polypipe nice and soft. Yeah, we salvage what we can. I may one day dig all this up. Though I doubt it. It's a lot of work for $2 or $3 reward. And it makes something really interesting for future archaeologists. Right, one riser. Which unfortunately is not the one in Star Trek. That'd be much more pleasant than sitting out in the heat. Alright, let's pop him on. And then we have to set it up, but we'll do that after we've got them all on. Okay, you don't need me in shot, so we're just going to get this. Do the same thing again. Try and cut the polypipe nice and straight so we get a good connection. Hose clamp, T-piece, and now we can just sort this one out. Only need a little bit of that, so we chop it off, get our hose clamp. Once been in the shade a little bit so it's quite stiff. We put this on and I'll show you how to get the angle set up, in case you don't know. Now what we need to do is get some stakes that'll come up to about here, where my hand is, to hold that in place. So let's go and find some. So just grab a couple of cable ties here. Let's put that one around there just to hold it. Now to set these up, pretty simple. All we need to do is we turn that way, and it's completely the wrong way around. Push these little clips. We get it where we want it pointing. Yep, stop there. So we just spin them around until we've got them where we want. And after we've tried it out, I've got lots more to put in, because this ran some other bits of irrigation as well. Yeah, there we go. All working. Covering most of the yard now. Grapevines are getting a little bit of water. Bore's doing its job. I'm happy now. And I'll try not to stick something through the underground pipes. Not that I've got many underground pipes left at all. So if we come up, you'll be able to see just running along the wall. Not very pretty, but it does the job. And there we go. Nice coverage. Still got a fair bit more to make sure it's getting properly watered. Probably add another couple of stations in. It's got 3.5 at the moment. The reason I say it's half is the subtropical zone that I'm trying to set up just over here with the banana trees is on its own, but I run that with the front sprinklers and also on its own. So I've got the very back, the lawn, the front, and the subtropical. And that's how I've got it set up at the moment. But down the side here is not getting enough water. My greenhouse isn't on the bore, so I have to do that with tap water. And that's not a good thing to be doing, because it's treated water, lots of chlorine goes through it, lots of expense in making it clean and drinkable. Whereas the stuff I just get straight out of the ground, perfectly good to put on plants. Probably wouldn't want to drink it. It's okay to drink, but it doesn't taste very good. But it's not processed in any way, so saves a lot of energy, much better for the environment, and saves the good water for drinking. So that's irrigation done. Still lots more to do. What do you think? Have you got pipes overground, underground? Have you set up your own reticulation? Let me know in the comments. Hints on how to get the irrigation right and how to calculate coverage. That's the important part too, so you're not overwatering or underwatering. Anyway, enjoy life. Catch you in the garden.